Hello everyone, welcome to your first Descendant pronunciation class. I know you're rolling your eyes going, what is going on here? But this has to be talked about. I believe this is the 3-month anniversary since launch, and people are still mispronouncing names of Descendants, materials, guns, Colossus bosses. I came across some like-minded people in some YouTube comments yesterday or the day before, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go over this, and it might ruffle some feathers. I won't name any names of any content creators that are guilty of this. They know who they are. Like one of the commenters said, you can't just make up pronunciations of names. There's the right way and there's the made-up way. And there's just one of the rules in the society we live in. Certain things are pronounced certain ways. You don't deviate from it. So let's start with Freyna. Now, let me also interject with all of these names are said in cutscenes, mission dialogue, banter between other descendants, and they are also said when you are revived by said person or you revive that person. These names are said all the time, and the only excuse for not understanding how to pronounce these names is that you had everything muted from day one and you never heard anybody say these names. So let's begin. And I know these are obvious, but people do not know how to pronounce these names. So Freyna, people still insist on taking the Y and putting it after the N. So they say Frenya, or they put 2 Y's in, Freyna. We hear it all the time, and every time I hear it, I punch my leg. It's Freyna. Moving on. Sharon. Now this one boggles my mind. I've heard 2 or 3 people say this. You may not believe this until you hear it for yourself from these people's mouths. And these are people with hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And the problem with that is that their viewers hear it and then they pronounce it incorrectly, and then it just keeps spreading. This woman's name is pronounced Sharon, just like it looks. Sharon. It could be spelled with an E-N or an O-N. It's pronounced Sharon, not Shireen. I have heard multiple YouTubers say, well, we don't know how to pronounce it yet, so I'm just going to say it Shireen. Really? You don't know how to pronounce it yet? Sharon. Moving on. This one is, I think it's obvious. I'm not a vocabulary or English teacher or anything like that. But this name is said hundreds of times in the game. It's not Vyesa, like people like to say. It is not Vyesa. It is Vyesa. It is said so many times throughout this game, and people still say Vyesa. Moving on, this one. This is, again, one of the 3 original characters said constantly throughout the game. It is pronounced Lepik, not Lepik. pronounced lepic. Very simple. Even for the uneducated, it's lepic. Moving on, I've never heard Jaber said incorrectly or Blair. I might have heard something like glee or gly, but that was so long ago and I didn't dwell on that one. So that is glay. This is obviously bunny. I have heard Ajax pronounced incorrectly. I don't remember how it was said. I was in the kitchen cooking while the video was going on in the background, and I heard a male YouTuber say his name incorrectly. I wish I remembered how he said it. Maybe Ajax or something crazy. And I stopped what I was doing in the kitchen, and I went and actually looked at the screen and just shook my head in disbelief. How do you get Ajax pronounced incorrectly? Moving on, we already know lepic. Kyle, I've never heard Kyle mispronounced. Here's one that drives me frickin' crazy. This one drives me crazy. Say it with me, kids. Valerie. Now take out the uri and add a B at the end of it. It's Valby, not Volby, or lately I've been hearing Balby, like with bees. It's Valby. It is said constantly throughout the game. Valby. Nothing with Luna. We already went over Viesa. Eugen is another one I've heard people say kind of weird. Eugene. And then I've heard people say, I know it's not spelled E-U-G-E-N-E like Eugene, but that's how I want to say it. Okay, you say it however you want to. It's Eugen. Again, said multiple times throughout mission dialogue. Eugen. And we're coming up to the good one. Haley has not been mispronounced. Enzo, I've never heard mispronounced. Here we go. Last one. Say the word Eskimo and remove the K. His name is pronounced Eskimo. Eskimo, remove the K, Eskimo. It's not Asiamo or Asayamo. It's Eskimo. Very easy. Eskimo. And right, you guys have tuned out a long time ago because this is already over 8 minutes. I took notes here because I don't want to flip around all the menus. One of the biggest travesties in the game is Kuiper shards. Not Kuiper, Quipper, Queeper, Cooper. It's Kuiper, as pronounced in the game several hundred times by all the descendants. Kuiper. It's definitely been said by the guide several times. Kuiper. Good grief. The only weapon that I came across that was mispronounced, and this one I can understand, but because it's a weapon of death, it should be pronounced executor. The shotgun. Executor. People say executor, which I understand. When you look at that word, it can go both ways. But in this situation, seeing as it is executing people, it is the executor. One other one that drives me nuts, and I always comment on people's YouTube videos, and I usually get thumbs down on it. ARCHE, the power that our descendants get their abilities from, is pronounced RK. It's not arc or arch. There's an E at the end of it, and it is said thousands of times in this game, pronounced RK. Think of it as ARKAY. It is spelled ARCHE. RK. People still say ARK. The only thing I can come up with is that they're too lazy and don't want to put another syllable on it, so they say ARK, which wouldn't surprise me. Another one, material, amorphous. It's not Amorpheus. It's not Morpheus from the Matrix with an A in front of it. It's amorphous. I hear people say this. I've heard 30 different people say Amorpheus, and they say it 5 times in their video, and I cringe every frickin' time. It's things like this that push me over the edge, guys. Okay, we have one more. This one blows my mind. I've heard it pronounced gluttony. Gluttony, like it's gluten, but they put an E at the end of it where the Y is. Have you people never heard or seen the word glutton? It's a noun, and it means to be greedy, to eat, to fiercely eat and devour food. Glutton. Put a Y at the end of it, gluttony. That person was being gluttonous. He's a glutton. Gluttony. Not gluttony or gluttony. It's gluttony. I cannot fathom people not understanding how to pronounce the word gluttony. Okay. There are 3 people that I am going to put in the description of this video. They are the ones that were like-minded like myself, and they were baffled by people still mispronouncing these simple names and words that have been heard and said thousands of times, 3 months on, and they're still saying it incorrectly. If they want their names removed, I will remove their names. But I just think it's cool to give them a shout out because it was finally good to see somebody that was irritated by these things. I know it's not a big deal. There are bigger things in the world of the first Descendant, like reactors, toxic reactors dropping with chill and fire. That is all I'm getting since yesterday's reset. I already have a pretty good secret garden roll for Freyna, but every single toxic reactor I'm getting is coming with substat rolls on it other than tech and toxic. There's no way this has been getting worse. Nexon and Magnum Studios need to remove all of the elements that do not go with that reactor. It's ridiculous. Okay, guys, thanks for listening. I'm sure you got to about the 20-second mark and turned it off. That's the attention span of most people nowadays. If you did like this and listen to it, please share it so other people can learn how to pronounce these words correctly. This is how Nexon and Magnum made the game. This is how the characters themselves say the names and words in the game hundreds to 1,000 times. I'm not making this up. This is how they are pronounced. But if you want to keep on going ahead and saying Lepic and Vyessa and Balbi and Gluttony and Shireen, go right ahead. Thank you for watching. And if you did like this, please like and subscribe. And if you don't want to like and subscribe, please share it so people in the least can learn how to pronounce these names and words. Thank you. Have a good one.